happened back in April 2022. The defendant had crashed his car into the center median. He drove it on purpose into the center median on the 8 freeway near the Mission Gorge exit. And Officer Pacheco was just on patrol. He wasn't trying to initiate a traffic stop. He wasn't doing anything other than just driving in the area when he saw the car on the side of the road with its hazards on. He pulled over to see if anybody needed help, to see if anybody was hurt. When he got there, the defendant was already out of the car, standing in front of his car. So Officer Pacheco walked up and just to see if he was okay, ask him if he needed any help, and to find out what happened in the collision. And when he got there, he first noticed that the defendant just kind of had, the way he described it was like a 1,000-yard stare, almost like a vacant stare. Without warning, without any sort of provocation, just immediately tried to take Officer Pacheco's firearm. The defendant was able to get his finger on the trigger and actually shot Officer Pacheco in the leg. The two of them went to the ground, and Officer Pacheco was bleeding pretty profusely, and just again trying to literally fight for his life. He was trying to keep the gun under control. He was trying to fight off the defendant. At the same time, a group of people saw what was going on, saw an officer who needed help, and stopped in the middle of the freeway. And it started, with one car just stopping and got out and tackled the defendant off of the officer.
So I parked immediately at one. The officer was literally on the floor holding the suspect, and you can see asking him, hitting, I guess, his hand, let it go, because one hand was holding both of them the firearm. He let it go while I was grabbing him from his shirt. I looked at the floor immediately. There was massive blood.
I parked as soon as I could, and I got out of the car, and I took out my knife. He was trying to, from my perspective, trying to reach for the gun again, and then I pulled him down, and I told him, I have a knife, don't move.
There, but for the grace of God, kind of coincidence, an off-duty nurse was driving by in his motorcycle.
On my way to work, I work at Sharp Grossmont Hospital, and on the way I hit some immediate traffic, and upon lane splitting, I saw a car crash into the center divide. In front of the car, there was kind of a scuffle, a group of people, and an officer laying on the ground. At that point, I kind of just pulled over and went up to see what was going on.
Traffic is just starting to slow down a little bit, and traffic just kind of stops. Again, I'm in the passenger, and I look over as I see somebody get out of the truck. And I immediately tell my husband, I gotta go. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I gotta go, there's somebody who needs help. There was a nurse that was applying pressure to his leg. And at that point, I'm like, we need a tourniquet. I reach down, I grab a backpack, and I look, and I'm like, does anybody have a knife? And the nurse reaches in his pocket and pulls out shears and hands them to me about the time I realize it's his backpack. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to cut the strap off your backpack. And pardon the language, he was like, can cut it.
And immediately his training kicked in, and he started applying a tourniquet, like a makeshift tourniquet. Obviously, he didn't have one with him.
And someone came and helped me cut up my backpack and essentially make a tourniquet out of my straps. We applied the first tourniquet. It was really hard to hold pressure and stop the bleeding. You could still see he was bleeding relatively profusely. Luckily, he was still coherent enough. I was able to ask him. I was like, hey, does your belt separate from all your different things on your belt strap? And he goes, yes. So I had another gentleman help me at the time, and we removed the belt and placed that as a double tourniquet.
Hey, what's we have a tourniquet on? Okay, good. All right.
While they were helping him, I was, of course, with 911.
We need the officer. There is an officer down.
Okay.
Officer down.
Where? Are you on the freeway?
Yes.
He was getting kind of loopy in and out, and there was a lot of blood around the area.
His face color is changing. So the only way I can keep him is to literally scream at him. I have to scream at him so I can make him look at me if he likes it or not, or else I don't want him to close his eyes.
And at that point, all I heard was just background noise of what was going on, and really my focus was holding him down. I had just had a shoulder surgery 2 weeks before, so I was also trying to not, drop the knife and hold him down.
I sit down and I think I grabbed somebody's coat or whatever, and I'm just kind of cradling his head. And he's like, I need to call my wife. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, right? Like, what are you gonna tell her? He's like, no, I need to call my wife.
So he asked me, because he couldn't reach, to his pocket. I don't remember. I don't recall if it was on the left or right pocket. His phone was there. So I just opened the button and I took his phone, he dialed it, and I was holding it. He was talking to his wife, that he told her that I was shot. He's okay, he loved her. So he said beautiful things, and that's when he's done. He put his head down and I hung up. I didn't want to talk to her because I just didn't want to scare her.
So we're sitting there, maybe a minute goes by, ambulance pulls up, I walk over, and basically the lead guy that hops out of the ambulance is like, how can we help? And he says, well, if you can move him to the wall, we'll take it from there. And I'm like, no problem. So we walk back over, and at this point I think there's 4 of us around him kind of helping him, and I said, we need to move him to the wall. And all 4 of us pick him up, and we put him on the center divide, and within a flash he was gone. Like, ambulance, just gone.
It was a pretty miraculous turn of events that all of these people, starting with, kind of that first one, Mr. Yusuf, stopping and getting the ball rolling.
I'm blessed to help someone's life. If this happens again, I will do it again.
Every single one of them just looked at the situation and did what needed to be done.
We're all just humans, no matter where you come from, what country, what color, what religion, that we all just need to help each other out.
They went unknowing about how this was going to go. They don't know the defendant, they don't know his background, they don't know if he's a good fighter or a bad fighter. All they know is he is willing to fight an armed individual and try to kill them in broad daylight, and they still stopped.
It's nice to be honored, but it's, I don't think anybody sets out into a situation like that going, ooh, I'm gonna get an award or recognition.
In the end, it was a good outcome, and everyone was safe, which is nice.
We all see it in the movies, and you'd like to think that you're that person who's going to run into the burning building or run up to the situation and defend them. But when push comes to shove, it's really hard to do that. And I mean, tons of cars kept driving, and for whatever reason, I don't fault any of them, but these people stopped and they saved his life.